What's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. We will be starting the show in about 2 minutes. We got 12 guys on. Robert McNutt, Professor Hatter. I'm going to share it in the group. All right, guys, welcome to Views from the Vault, Cap Banter, episode 7. We have a really cool episode planned for you guys. We are going to be going under the cap with my homie Maren, and we're also going to be unveiling the World Fitted Federation bracket. So that's why we have Jason on the line. So if you guys have any questions, Jason's going to be moderating, and he'll hit us up. But until then, we're going to be going under the cap. Pierre's going to take us through and let us get to know Maren. So let's do it.
Well, welcome to the vault, Maren. It's
Thanks.
great to have you. So Leon and I were looking forward all week to getting a chance to chat with you. So just to go back in time a little bit, like, you know, my first experiences with you were when you were going through the ultimate hat collection competition with Lids. And we're going to get there in a little bit, but listen, I got to tell you, you're someone that certainly helped inspire my social networking presence from what I saw when you were going through that. So I want to thank you for that, first of all, but I also want you to know you had a huge impression on me then, and you still do today, which is why I was super happy to have you on. So I wanted to start with that, Maren.
I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The contest, it introduced me to tons more people. And that's kind of why I wanted to do it to begin with. So for sure.
Well, we're going to dive in there in a little bit, but I want to get to know, I want you to just tell us a little bit about yourself, Maren, because I know folks out there would love to get to know you better.
Sure. So I grew up in Kansas City, Kansas. And I Kansas City born. All my family went to KU except me. I actually went to the East Coast. I went to Yale for undergrad. So
so you're not very smart.
No, not very smart. But I came home for law school. I went to law school at KU. So now my uncles talk to me again because I have a degree from KU. I practiced for like 6-7 years. Wasn't really loving what I was doing. So one of my buddies opened a soda shop and needed an adult to help him run it, basically. And so there for a while I was just working, and then his general manager left. And so then I took over as the manager, and I run our social media for our stores, our store in Lawrence and our store in Kansas City. And then to kind of activate my more intellectual, less social side, I work for a nonprofit that works in the child welfare system. Wow. So I do that, and I watch a lot of sports, and I collect hats, and I drink soda and cider. I'm not a beer person, but cider.
I'm not a drinker myself, but listen, can I ask you a question? So before we came on the air, did you ever hear of Jason Mead in Lawrence? Because I hear Jason Mead has a bit of a history in the town of Lawrence. So have you heard of him? Is he notorious in that town, or was this just?
I haven't heard of him. I'm excited to know more details about his interaction with the establishment of Lawrence, Kansas. I imagine he was here for a game and something got rowdy. But
I wish I could tell you more, but I don't recall many details.
you don't recall. All right.
I think you laid the smackdown on somebody.
Yeah,
Could be.
there are lots of experiences in Lawrence, Kansas, I think that end with I don't recall. So it's a fun place to be for sure.
So Maren, so you know, thanks for that. Now tell us a little bit about why you're so into Kansas City sports. I know you're there, right? But there's something that your connection to the sports teams out there is way deeper than just the average fan. So tell me about that. What got you to that?
So like my dad is a huge sports fan. Like we, as children, we weren't allowed to touch the remote. You know, it was his, and it was on what it was on. And so like you either got into it or you weren't, you know, watching TV. So my first love is definitely Royals baseball, just baseball in general. Some of my most cherished memories are being out in the GA section, which is now the outfield that Kauffman was renovated after I was a kid. Like, but it's probably like 15 years ago now, I guess. but when I was a kid, GA, there were just 2 sections in the outfield that were general admission.
Yeah.
And they overlooked the bullpen. So I remember like taking my cap off and throwing it down to get autographs in the bullpen and having them throw it back up. And just those are, our family didn't do a lot of activities. So like Royals games were a highlight for sure. So my dad worked nights. So like when we would go to a Royals game, it was like a big deal. So that, and then I have an older brother, and so he and I both played sports, and just it was something we could talk about as a family. And and then KU, like I said, everybody in the family went to KU pretty much. So KU basketball is basically a religion. So there was that. And then as I got older, I was like into football, but then as I got older, the Chiefs we had kind of a decline, but we're back up there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Super Bowl champs. So it's just a lot of fun, right? It's something, the thing about sports is it's a community, just like hat collecting, I would say. And so, you know, when you're wearing a hat, like the other day I was wearing a Brewers hat and somebody started talking to me about it and they're like, oh, I've never seen that logo before, you know, and are you a Brewers fan? And then he was like, are you a Bucks fan? And I was like, well, actually I'm a Royals fan, but I just like hats. But yeah, I love basketball, so of course I'm a Bucks fan because they're fun to watch. But you know, so that's kind of how it all built. It was family. The Royals a couple years ago did the hashtag Raised Royal, and like was something I could totally identify with because a couple of the ones before that were super cheesy. But like they hit on Raised Royal, and I don't think they moved away from it. It's been like 3 years or something.
So Maren, like when I think of Kansas City sports, right? When I think about Kansas City, the Kansas City Chiefs, I think about the Nigerian Nightmare, Christian.
Yeah, for sure.
When I think about the Royals, I think about like, you know, George Brett, Bo Jackson, right?
Definitely. When I was in second grade, they said like, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, was your thing. And I drew myself in a Royals uniform, but I said I wanted to be the commissioner of Major League Baseball. That was like the goal when I was little. Kind of took some turns from there, but he's not doing a very good job right now, so you know, maybe
Maybe you have a
knows,
chance.
right?
Maybe that Yale undergraduate education can be transferred over to baseball commissioner, right?
Yeah, maybe.
That would be nice. Maybe I think I'd like to see what happens if you were commissioner. But
Be a
listen,
lot more fun, I'll tell you that.
oh yeah, I bet it would be. So let me ask you a question, Maren. So like when you think we talked about Kansas, the Royals a little bit, and the Chiefs, and some folks that I remember in those times from those teams. How about KU? Who's your favorite KU basketball player of all time?
All time. So when I was in grad school from 2005 to 2008, and so 2008, my third year in law school, I went to both the Orange Bowl, the ultimate ever of KU football, and ever will be unless Les Miles can work some magic. And I went to the 2008 national title game that went into overtime on Mario's Miracle. But Mario is not my favorite player from that team. My favorite player from that team is Russell Westbrook, the starting point guard from New York, New York. He would put up one or two bad shots a game, but he was just clutch, and he was the glue that held that team together. Mario could sneak for steals because Russell was so fundamental. Brandon Rush on that team was great. Bill Self used to say he never sat down during a timeout. Like, he was just such a premium athlete, and it's such a shame that he wrecked his knee in that secret workout with the Knicks, because I think he would have stuck in the league more. But he does have a ring with the Warriors, so he is a college champion and an NBA champion. So
I was hoping you were going to say Paul Pierce, but
Paul Pierce is the truth for sure, and the Boston connection, I understand. But when I was a kid, probably my favorite player from those teams is Nick Collison, actually.
Oh, okay. All right.
Iowa boy.
Yeah, Iowa boy. 20 boards, 20 points, pulling in clutch.
Yeah. So Maren, we talked a lot about your love of sports. We've talked a lot about, your family, how you spent time with your family around sports, and how that really, kind of infused your passion around that. But let's talk a little bit about what got you into hats now. So we've got all that, right? Now, what got you into hats? And I know Leon's about to share one of my favorite slides of today's presentation. So
yeah, so the two on the left, the backwards hat and then the bow, I used that picture during the ultimate hat contest because I was like, hats equal smile, bows equal Maren's not so happy. So basically my hat collection has gone through so many iterations. Both those hats on my head when I'm little were probably my dad's. I think those are both Cardinals hats because he actually was born in St. Louis and so was a Cardinals fan, sort of, until the Royals came, to Kansas City. So, but now we're Kansas City fans. He still watches the Cardinals though. So but Royals fan first. So I definitely, do you remember those hooks that had the clips on them that you would like hang from your ceiling?
Mm-hmm.
So I had like 3 or 4 of those in my room when I was a kid, and it was just like whatever, college hats, baseball hats, just kind of whatever. Not so much fitteds, more like dad hats and those college bar, the white hats, where it said like Kansas and had the bars across it.
Okay. Gartland, maybe? Were those Gartland hats?
I think so. And then there were like American something. I don't remember what it was called, but kind of more snaps there for a while. And then when I was in college, I definitely wore a hat and a hoodie every day in New Haven, Connecticut. It became like a thing. It's cold there, obviously, and it rains a lot. So I'd be like wearing a hat, and I'd wear like a winter hat over it, and then my hood would be up to like protect my hat. My friends thought I was completely ridiculous. It was completely ridiculous. That's kind of how I walked around campus pretty much all the time. So, and just when I was out there, I went to Fenway a lot. I went to Yankee Stadium a lot.
Yeah.
So
New Haven kind of
connecting.
centered between the two. So New
Yeah,
Haven, you could hit
exactly.
Yankee
So
Stadium or Boston in an hour and a half either way.
yeah, so the college would rent a bus. So at Yale, there are residential colleges. It's based off the house system in England. So if you're familiar with like the Harry Potter houses, it's kind of like that. Everybody's divided into their own like
Leon's in Slytherin.
Yeah. So I was in Saybrook College, and the head of our college would buy tickets to at least one Yankees game a semester and one Red Sox game a semester. So I always made sure to sign up. We'd occasionally go to Mets games too. And so actually I went to the first sporting event after 9/11. It was that Mets game. So I was at that amazing event.
Wow. So
pretty wild.
Listen,
we just happened to have tickets, and the head of the college didn't make us cancel. So we went up on a bus and went. So that was pretty cool for sure.
So Maren, it obviously started young for you. I love the angry picture in the center, and I love how you kind of connected those things, right? But listen, your collecting culminated into your participation in the Lids ultimate hat collection competition, right?
Yeah.
And again, going back to what I said before, that was my first like real exposure to you as a collector and also as a personality. So I'd love it. We're going to show our viewers some pictures. I'd love it if you can give a little context behind these.
Yeah, for sure.
So we got to make sure we move through them, kind of quickly, but we want to make sure that we get a good feel for all of these things that we're seeing up here. So
so I like taking my hats out into the wild, so to speak. Also, my apartment's small, and so like, I don't approve of bedspread pics. So going outside is the best. So like we have James Naismith statue, we have Fog Allen statue with KU hats and Sixers hats respectively. Then the stairwell pick is all the MLB hats, MILB hats I had at the time. I have more than that now. The other stairwell pick is all the other MLB hats I have outside of Royals at the time. Again, it's grown since then. And the picture that really caught Lid's eye was this sleeve emblem that I did out of KC hats and KC affiliate hats. And now we're up to about 6 hat club duffels of KC hats and KC affiliate hats. So it's kind of, I could do a fancier logo now for sure.
So Maren, let me ask a question. We're going to go a little deeper into some of those picks, right? But
for sure,
what motivated you to kind of participate, like to put your name into that ring? Because listen, this is not something that's easy to kind of do, right? Like you've got to create videos, you got to create all this content. Like
so JB had won the year before. So I got into Team Fitted because Brett Schwartz nominated me. And but before that, I knew JB, Interstate 19, and Brett and a whole bunch of other guys through Twitter, or actually the timeline tears. Blow up your notifications if you join any of those threads, accidentally or on purpose. People don't know how to reply only to one person. So I just at this point kind of scroll through. But JB really encouraged me to enter because he thought I had a breadth of a collection and width of a collection that would show off. So like the one, this is MILB, and then these are like designer non-team hats on the other side. And I just, basically I wanted, there aren't that many, there are female collectors, but there aren't a ton. There's like maybe 10 of us in Team Fitted, 5 of us who are like active in Team Fitted. So I kind of wanted to be like, yeah, well, I love hats too. And I love hats for the same reason you love hats. It's the story, it's the history, it's the cool logo.
Yeah.
And I really like telling stories. So that's what I tried to do with my posts to get Lids' attention, I'd say, was my captions were always kind of crazy long because I was trying to tie it to like why I wanted those particular hats.
Yeah.
Other guys in the contest also really encouraged me, like other people who ended up being finalists, like Dews and Big Rob. They definitely encouraged me to participate because at first I was like, I don't know if I want the drama because like sometimes, you know, there's some drama associated with putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
But then I just decided to go for it. So this was my plan, sketched out. I had laid it out in an area where I couldn't get high enough. So then I had to go to another location and relay it out so I could get high enough to really do it. And at this point, I'd like to tweak it and do it again because I have, like I said, I have more hats, and you know you're never satisfied with what you get.
Yeah.
So got to borrow someone's drone and get really above it.
Yeah, we were talking about that before. That's the only way to get this right, unless there's a catwalk, right? Like that's
right. Yeah.
And you were telling us the story, which I thought was really cool. Is like there's a stairwell over there, and you had to keep going up. Look,
yeah. So I would like.
Suggest.
So I was at the store at night, and the security guard kept coming by and like peeping in to be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And so I would like lay everything out, and I'd like, "Oh, okay, I think it looks good," and I go like partially way up the stair, and then I'd be like, "No, I gotta adjust this, I gotta adjust that," and then get higher and higher. Finally, I got as high as I could, and I just leaned out as far as I could to try to get the picture.
You said you got as high as you could. I think that's what happened to Jason out in Lawrence. I'm just kidding, Jason.
Statute of limitations is passed.
So
I think.
So yeah, so I have obviously I have a lot of patch hats. So when the Royals made the postseason for the first time, you know, Maren went a little buck wild. So a lot of 2014, 2015 hats in here, postseason, World Series champs. So that's why there's so many blue KC on the side.
yeah.
And then I have some Monarchs hats in there, and just kind of the history, some A's hats, and then affiliate hats too.
Well, you made me and a bunch of my friends spend some money the last time we went to Fan Fest. So
yeah, so Fan Fest is the best.
Yes.
Only place you're gonna still get USA made hats. Happy to help people if they're basically my philosophy on helping people is if I see that they help others, I'm totally down to help.
Yeah.
So just,
you know, Maren, I'm gonna try and get down there next spring.
So this past year it worked out because Brett actually drove over too, and so he kind of grabbed some stuff for some of the more persnickety collectors who wanted like pictures of every hat rather than just being like, these are the ones I want. The people who wanted like preview pics, I was like, I can't do that this year. I think I spent like, they were like $15 a piece, right, Leon? 12 something
like that. 15, yeah.
15, and I think I spent like $800 on hats. So I was not about to give a preview pic to every hat that I was purchasing.
Also, speaking of 2015, Maren. Jambo wants to know the ball that the bearded kid.
Oh, the Amish guy. Yeah, no. Home run.
That's not a home run.
He's saying it wasn't.
That is not a home
run.
Dinger.
It was going. And in any case, I'm sorry that your outfielder can't hit the cutoff, man.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
You said it, Maren. I'm not involved in this.
Threw to the wrong base. I don't know what you're doing. So yeah, these pictures. So SD Hat Guy inspired the initial one, the smaller one. He'd done an SD out of his Casey hat. So this, you can kind of see the growth of my collection and post joining Team Fitted and having a problem. So it like this is 1 year, and then that's the one next to it is the next year, and then the sleeve patch is like a year and a half later. So it just explodes when you see people being like, oh yeah, that's dope, let's do this, or like, oh, do you know about this store, or did you see so and so was selling these on eBay, or whatever. It just, so we're all pushers for each other. So I'm
Nice.
glad I found my people.
Yeah, so this is some cool stuff here because I think we all know your love for the Jayhawks. So
Yeah, so I have season tickets with a friend, so I go to all the home games, men's home basketball games, and what's cool about these are the hat club did, like, they don't do very many college hats, so I was super pumped. They did 3 different KU ones, and so I went up on campus and took the picture with the statue that the hat related to. So that's the 1941 Angry Jayhawk, or War Hawk, as some people know it. And then this one is the Centennial Hawk, or the skinny legged bird. That's 1913. And then this is the one that looks the most like an actual bird, and it always sat on that KU. So if I ever get to tell Hat Club what kind of hat I would want, those timeline hats like they did for the Yankees and the D-backs and
the White
Chicago,
Sox and the Cubs.
I
right?
want an all-around Jayhawk evolution hat.
Yeah,
Be a lot of stitches.
Their design a hat contest is still open. I
know, but it's West Coast left. It's like West Coast, East Coast. I was like, what about us in the middle?
Us flyover states got to represent too.
Yeah, but it's non-trademarked. It's like original logos, so that wouldn't fit. But I agree. Yeah. So again, this is just like out in the community. So that's a mural in Kansas City. I was wearing a Dionic hat. I'm actually in every one of those. It's like Find Maren. Where's Maren in it? And then this pizza shuttle one is in Lawrence. It's like the 2 a.m. pizza spot. And that's a Dionic hat that I bought secondhand off of a guy, Reagan Lee. Some of the dopest old stuff in my collection is from Reagan, including this set of Coca-Cola hats. So like I said, I run a soda shop, so you need the Coca-Cola hats, right? But they're impossible to find. And so Reagan was selling off his collection. These are the UK version. So I bought those for myself for my birthday a couple years ago.
I'm not sure if people realize how rare the hats in this picture are.
Yeah, so I know that Asia did a release and UK did a release. New Era just can't get branded stuff US stateside. I guess it's too expensive to get the rights. So you just have to work those connections. I bought the Luigi hat that's been sitting on Macari for a while.
Yeah.
I'm afraid it's a fake because it wasn't very much money, but I guess when it comes, we'll find out if I wasted some money or not. But here, so Negro Leagues Museum. So Kansas City not only has the Royals, we had the Kansas City Monarchs, which were the Yankees of the Negro Leagues, perennial champs. And so when I was doing the UHC contest, no better place to go out than the Negro Leagues Museum. So I put out my Royals hats all along the base paths, and then I took these pictures with the Monarchs hat. So if Justin's thinking about a purple bottom, I want this Negro Leagues Monarchs logo, which I've never seen on a fitted, all black with that logo, purple bottom.
Oh, wow.
And then my favorite hat probably in my collection actually is the all red Kansas City Monarchs hat on top there.
Nice.
It's the first Negro Leagues hat that the Royals wore during a salute to the Negro Leagues game and sold retail. And so it's kind of rare to find. It's a red bottom. So it's an authentic collection that isn't a black under.
Oh, wow.
So
that's a rarity.
And so Ultimate Hat Collection, so after we won or didn't win, they still kind of keep in touch with us, and they ask us to like post pics and stuff. And so they sometimes send us things. So last year for opening day, they sent us this hat So I don't wear it a ton. It's right there because it has, like, for a hat collector who used to really only want USA made, the glued on flag hurts my heart. It fits pretty well, but and the stitching in front is good, but the glued on flag kind of hurts my heart. So
not necessarily a highlight in the new era timeline.
So the scout statue we were talking about before we got on, Kansas City had a hockey team for a couple of years in the 70s, and they were the Kansas City Scouts. And so I since then I've taken pictures like Leon's hockey hot dog custom I've taken outside my friend's spot, Leeway Franks. So like I like matching things to like what I'm doing, so that's fun. My minor league collection exploded when I realized that you could spell things with hats. So my goal was to spell my name, and have no problem doing that now. I just need an X, and there's not like a minor league X. I got super excited when Hat Club did the Utica Blue Sox because I got the U, because I was like, how am I ever going to get the U? In Ludwig. So yeah.
The Sioux City Explorers used to have New Era hats. They don't do them anymore, but hopefully someday. And that's a giant X on the front.
Since the contest, I've basically been kind of taking pics. Like I also like the fit pic. So, and I dabble in collecting shoes. I don't pay above retail. So if I miss a release, then it's sad city, but I just don't roll like that. So, but I like matching stuff up.
Whenever Leon misses something, he cites the god of commerce.
Yeah. And then I help run this St. Patrick's Day parade in Lawrence. The parade committee, actually, it's a fundraiser for different children's charities every year. So we have a whole bunch of events leading up to the parade, and the parade is like a thank you to the community. So this is me out on the street with the parade banner in the background, rocking that Dionic, super dope St. Patrick's Day hat. I missed on this year's, so if anyone has a 7 or 7 1/8 floating around that they'd like to pawn off on me, I'd take it.
Same thing with the 8. My seller flopped on me. I had a deal set up for the 8. So whenever you're ready, Roman, whenever you're ready.
So yeah. So, and then like I said, Chiefs Pride was running strong, and you know, Jayhawks, what's not to like there? And so
how far is that liquor store from Lawrence?
That's not a liquor store. That's the soda shop right there.
Oh, it's a soda shop. Oh, I'm sorry.
So that's where I work. Yeah. So those are all sodas in the background. So it's in Lawrence, downtown Lawrence. Anyone wants to roll through, happy to talk hats and talk soda with you. And then the thank you was what I did at the end of the contest when I was like thanking folks for voting and everything. So yeah.
Wow. That was great, Maren. So listen, Maren, if I could ask you a couple of last second questions before we get into the brackets, right? And we're going to keep you on for that because you're used to these brackets being a KU fan. So
for sure.
I watched a lot of these Selection Sunday shows. This Selection Sunday, though, it's a Saturday, and Jason did all the selecting. So this is going to be exciting to see the one man selection show. But
well, there won't be any leaks this way.
That's true. That's
right.
true.
No
He
leaks.
wouldn't even share with us. He kept it so tight-lipped. He wouldn't share even with Leon and I. So this should be interesting. It's going to be amazing for Leon and I to actually see this finally. But Maren, a couple of things. So first, I've loved kind of, you know, watching your collection and all the good stuff you bring to community at Team Fitted, and now you're kind of in Team Fitted and in FHS, which is awesome, because I think you're going to provide an opportunity to mentor a lot of newer collectors, and people are going to see the stuff you post and ask questions and learn from you. which is why I love both groups very much, because one's got, these folks that have been in the game for a long time, all of them have. And then in FHS, you've got a mix, right? So you get an opportunity to kind of mentor some people and teach. But tell me what you love most about the hat community.
The connections you can make. Like, I have multiple people in Canada and Australia that I consider friends now because of hats. Reagan and Lee down in Australia. Lee was, I was his Secret Santa a couple years ago, and then he ended up being mine this year. And he sent me the dopest package of all kinds of stuff, but ABL stores weren't open yet. So he put in the card, hey, when ABL stores open, let me know what you're wanting. I'll go out and grab stuff for you.
I love that guy.
Grab stuff for you. So
I love that
now
guy.
I have a Melbourne. I already had the blue socks, and I don't remember the other one he grabbed for me. It's a super dope logo.
Maren, you want to hear something crazy? He literally was talking to me about this morning.
Yeah.
He's like, what ABL hats do you have?
Yeah. So he's.
I had to take a picture for him.
Yeah. So he's the greatest. And then Leon, like, chopping it up, making stuff. He made me a custom. So
That's
it's
awesome.
got the M and the TF up top on a powder. And then it's got my name on the back. Super dope. So Leon Stitch Guy and Leon putting that together. Just the community and just like people who are willing to help, right?
Yeah.
Big Rob in Tulsa getting me international releases and introducing me to Chase and having Chase grab stuff for me down in out of Japan, like stuff that you can't, like the Space Jam. I saw that Space Jam hat and I was like, how am I ever gonna get that?
Well, Maren, it's like if the rest of the world was as cohesive and community focused as our hat communities are, I think it'd be a better place in general. But listen, Maren, I couldn't think of a better way for us to highlight a collector than to start that segment with you. So
I appreciate that.
No, I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you spending time with us. I also appreciate how much effort you put into sharing all of these great things with us today.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. And listen, we're going to have you back on. We want you to judge, like Jason's about to take us on a little journey right now.
I'm excited. I'm excited for the journey. I'm excited for these brackets. I want to see who's
before we get there though. Before we get there though, we do have a couple comments and stuff from the viewers. A lot of people agree with you, Maren, that Manfred sucks as a commissioner, and they would all be up for you, either commissioner of baseball. TJ, we all know TJ. He agrees with you. Brandon Rush is his favorite K-Hawk or J-Hawk. I can't even say that word without a little bit of bile coming up.
I think we're understanding why Jason might have gotten in trouble in Lawrence.
Yeah, and then he probably got a little lippy about KU.
Yeah, maybe so. It's not a good place to get lippy.
Yeah. And then Chambo is
Chambo.
Who doesn't? I mean, dreamy. Anyway, he's relying on your soda expertise here, and coming from the Big Lebowski movie, the cowboy asked the bartender
Sioux City Sarsaparilla,
Sioux City Sarsaparilla.
Yeah.
And he wants to know if that really is a good sarsaparilla.
It is a good sarsaparilla. I would say there are better sarsaparillas, but definitely people, when they come in wanting a sarsaparilla, generally it's because they've watched the Big Lebowski, and so anything I tell them about other ones, they're like, yeah, but do you have Sioux City? So
I'm from Sioux City, so I've known about Sioux City sarsaparilla for a long time, and it's 100 times better than a root beer. Another question that came up is, we know you work at a soda store and you guys got thousands of flavors in there.
Right.
What are you drinking right now?
I'm drinking Dr. Pepper.
There you go. Look at Robert
Martin.
Robert's a big Dr. Pepper fan.
So it's a real sugar Dr. Pepper, but it's my favorite big brand. I used to be a Coke fiend, and that came out wrong. A Coca-Cola fiend. It used to
Oh,
be
yeah,
a
yeah.
Coca-Cola fiend.
Yeah, we don't want to find out you're riding the white pony, Maren.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, soda form. But I gave it up in college, and now when I drink it, it tastes too sweet.
Yeah.
So, but when I was in law school, I don't drink coffee, and I needed caffeine, and so
Sure.
I started drinking Dr. Pepper, and so it's my favorite big brand. But I have dozens of favorites. So if anyone ever rolls through, I got a favorite in every category for you. So
Nice.
Very cool. Yeah, that's basically what we had from the crowd.
Nice.
Oh, and I forgot to mention also, like, Danny, Dionic, like, just blew my mind that a dude from Amsterdam, Netherlands. Is he actually from Amsterdam?
I believe
Or
so, yeah.
Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Yeah.
Was designing for a relatively tiny and now blowing up hat store in the United States, right? And just seeing the creativity that the design collective that Hat Club has identified is putting out is amazing. And it's one of my favorite things to do, to wear a design collective hat, because people are like, oh, I know that team. Yeah, what's that team? You know, like, they're trying to connect with you and they think it's a team hat. And so they start talking to you about, and you're like, well, actually it's not a team, it's this. And they're like, oh, and it's a good conversation starter. So it's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, you know, Maren, what's cool you bring that up is on Wednesday, before we're going to hand over to Jason now to talk about this, but on Wednesday we're going to have a member of that design collective, Chimuko, on the show.
Oh,
So,
nice.
Yeah.
He's been dropping heat. So
no,
I'm
kidding.
excited.
Crazy. Leon and I just bought some of his pins, and TJ, we just bought some of his pins. So Jason, let's without further ado, let's get this party started. Like,
Yeah, I know a lot of people have been hitting me up today wondering where they're at in the bracket. So let's go ahead and get this party started. We're going to start with the heavyweights.
Ooh.
Now this bracket will be for the what's the word I'm looking for? The
Inaugural.
well, no, the number one seed.
Okay.
We already have our champ, Robert Pierce.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these guys
Number one contender.
Yeah, the number one contender. Thank you.
All right.
So we got a couple returning veterans here. The Kingslayer. And what we're going to do with this is, because we didn't want to take, months doing these brackets, we're going to have a lot of triple threat and fatal four-way matches. And basically how these things are going to work is each hatlet is going to show their hat. We'll do 5 or 7 rounds depending on where we're at in the bracket. And then the judges are going to send me their scores. And then at the end of the match, whoever has the most points or the highest total will move on to the next round. Kind of like in boxing, you don't know the score of the match until the end. So in that way, we're going to have everybody show off their hats, and we can have 3 or 4 contestants per match. So we're going to do here. So in the first pod, we got the Kingslayer. We all know Big Dave, facing off against Jason Gaddis and Van Lee 23. Those names may sound kind of familiar, but that's going to be a pretty heavy hitting match there. We got Houston, Philadelphia, and Seattle kind of all over the board there. In the next pod, we got D-Lock. He's been on some hat battles before, going up against LHG 039 from New Jersey, and then Anthony Perp Cobain James out of Buffalo. So, some heavyweights there. Buffalo ties, they're going to be bringing some heat. And in the final pod, we got the commish. He's still sour about his match against Dave, so he's going to have a redemption tour here against D-Shark, Derek Chartrand out of Montreal, and Noah the Young Gun Keel out of Houston. Just so you guys know, heavyweights, we put these guys in here because they got huge collections or have been collecting for a really long time, thousands or more hats. So we want to see these guys face off against each other, bring some heavy hits. What do you guys think about this heavyweight division?
I'm interested to see what Van Lee brings out. He's Crew Era 13 fame.
Mhm.
So he's got a lot of West Coast, a lot of sleeper hits, I think. But yeah, all of them. I'm not familiar with Jason Gadditz by
Not
name.
either.
I gotta look him up. And LHG, I'm not sure who that is, but
LHG, he comments quite a bit on
Okay.
on my feed, so I'm pretty familiar with his, at least some of his collection.
I'm excited for that Canadian on Canadian crime down in the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, you know what I think when I look at this? There's going to be a lot of hats that we haven't seen before that are probably going to be popping up in these battles.
Yeah, Derek's done quite a few customs. So has the other Derek, actually. So it'd be nice to get some of those out.
Yeah, for sure.
And Canadian Derek has the hat wall, right? The like
Yep. Yeah, with the slabs.
actual grid.
Mm-hmm.
He's fancy.
All right, now on to the cruiserweight division. So these guys will have a few hundred to up to 1,000 hats, 5 to 10 years collecting. We got a few returning guys in here, and because of the odd number of contestants, we decided to give a few people a first round bye, and that would be J303 Steel out of Colorado, Elgato Deep Tuck from Phoenix, and Josh Bama Brawler Roberts, obviously from Alabama. They've all been in some hat battles before. Jay Steele and Deep Tuck are both undefeated, so we're going to give them first round buys. And then with the cruiserweights, because there's a few more people, I tried to regionalize the pods a little bit. So our East Coast pod, we have Mike Perry from Ontario going to get up against Lance Balor King Owens from Jacksonville, and Baby Ruthless from Fort Lauderdale.
Nice.
And that's what's that?
John West Bay.
Yeah. And then in the Indiana, Illinois pod, if you will, we got Diaba Quasi Shelton. Hope I said that right. I apologize if I didn't. From South Bend. And Brian Beesky B. Walker from Chicago. And
Beesky. Beesky. He's gonna be looking for blood. I can tell you that, man. Beesky B will be looking for blood. I guarantee it.
And the guy that's only going to go by on-field authentic out of Chicago. So we did promise to keep first and last names private if they so choose, and this guy chooses to. So he will be known as on-field authentic.
That better not be the
Mark Lackey.
Yeah. Is that him? I don't know. We'll see.
It is not. I can confirm that it is not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. His wife had a baby and he's stopped posting hat pictures. So.
He doesn't have hats, but that's all right. That's a story for another day. Let's go.
I'm the opposite. I have a couple of kids and it makes me want to post more hats.
He posted one where it was like the length of the baby and the number of hats it took. And that's the last picture I remember.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then in the West Coast / Minneapolis, because I couldn't really put them anywhere else, pod, we got Maggot Brain. It kind of fits. And then
that's a pretty cool nickname.
Yeah. And then against Hats Bot from Northern California, Polo Valdivia, probably butchered that. I apologize again, for Moreno Valley. And Sneaky Joe DePro, I saw he was on here earlier from San Francisco. We'll be going in a fatal four-way matchup there with the winner moving on to face the Bama Brawler.
A lot of, listen, there's a lot of names that I recognize there.
Yeah.
I only think Mike Perry is in this division because he sold off so many of his hats. Mike Perry's a freaking heavyweight, man. I don't know about these.
It could be I'm taking people at their word, at their size of the collection and how long they've been collecting. We get in there and we find out he may be juicing a bit. Maybe we'll.
We might have him peeing in cups, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Come on, Mike Perry. You're a heavyweight, Mike Perry. Let's go.
Right. You could phone a friend and be like, "Well, I sold it to so and so they can show it to you."
Here's what I want to see. I want to see Beesky B go for blood in that middle bracket. I want to see Mike Perry, because he's not willing to provide us with a nickname, go down to whoever the heck Baby Ruthless is. And I want to see Maggot Brain bring it home just because of the name.
I really hope Baby Ruthless got that name from the movie Whip It, about roller derby. I feel like that was a character.
Yeah, I opened this
roller
this
derby
up.
name. So.
Yeah, I opened this up for people to pick their own names, and for the most part, they kept it pretty clean. I was quite surprised.
Jason, what would you? Can we just, before we get into the next one, I want to know what your nickname would be. What would yours be?
Probably something lame like Mean Meat or something. Or my gamer tag is Nick Laser, and that kind of goes back to my Lawrence days.
Nice.
Yeah. So maybe Nick Laser.
Listen, I've got this fantastic vision of what this potentially was in Lawrence, and now I'm thinking you might have just been peeing in public.
You know,
if your nickname was Nick Laser, to me that would suggest you were probably like peeing on a lamppost or something.
Well, let's just say Nick Laser got in a lot of trouble in Lawrence. Well, we'll go with that. All right.
So Jason, can I ask? Hold on, I want to know what Leon's nickname would be.
Yeah. My nickname?
Yeah.
I don't know. You gotta let me think about it. I'll let you know at the end of the show.
All right. And Maren, I want you to think too. I want you to hear what yours is too. You can wait till the end. Think about it.
Something like Ladies Rock Fitteds or some. It would have to have some sort of, because that's something we didn't hit on, but like the number of people that assume I'm a dude is high. So.
Yeah. Well, Maren, you're all woman to us, so don't worry about it.
I just saw a comment here. Sneaky Joe's coming in. Be ready for some non-new era. Be ready to score a 0 if you bring any non-new era or snapbacks. This is a 5950 fitted only tournament. The World Fitted Federation only supports 5950. So
no Mitchell and Ness fitteds, no Evans Field flannel fitteds.
Get out of here.
Adam has provided his #1 fan, Jason Mead, with a nickname, and it's Mead for Speed.
We could do that. I could make that work. All right. Moving on to the middleweights. These aren't middleweights. These are middleweights by name only. Some of these might be younger collectors, a little bit smaller collections, maybe not as deep. But just like the cruiserweights in World Wrestling Federation or the luchadors, they may be small, but they're going to be high flying and throwing a lot of heat out here. So in this first pod, we went with the West Coast pod. We got Nestor Wonder Dink Sagoon from San Diego. Fitted collector, that's all he's going to go by. From Phoenix, the SoCal Snapback Slapper from Santa Barbara, and Chris Duke Jr. 23 Aguiar from Fresno.
I think that's
some really good names in that
Slapper
one.
Is like that's the nickname Robert Martin would utilize.
Yeah,
it would be the really good snapback slapper.
Really good names in that one.
I know who that is. We'll talk about that off air since he wants to remain anonymous.
Yep. In the second bracket, we got a returning competitor. Unfortunately, he's had some bad luck and hasn't got off the schneid yet. So that's why he's not getting a first round bye. But Los, the Fitted Fanatic, I love him in this Midwest pod against Hat Junkie from Detroit. Terrence, Detroit Red Jenkins, also from Detroit. And James Tank Conley from Chicago. So
nice.
Little Midwest Chicago Detroit battles going on there. In the third pod, we'll go with Canada and throw Buffalo in there as well for with Jesse Moose Nichter. Chris T15 Trotmans. I hope I said that right, Chris. I know you're on there. Shawnee R. Harvey out of just Canada is where he's billing himself from. And El Capo from Ontario as well. So got a little.
I'm trying to figure out why Leon keeps laughing. So you're gonna have to tell me after the show. He's got a little laugh after each of these brackets. So I want to know more about that later.
I think these some of these nicknames are hilarious. That's why
they're pretty good. And then in the let's say no region bracket, Couldn't really group these with the others. We got Kevin the Forehead Jones from Albany, Georgia, going against Sam the Young Gun Barton out of Connecticut. Jack Stills, not real name, but his nickname, is going from Fort Wayne against Oscar Dr. Doom Esparza out of New Mexico.
That Jack Stills has some hats, man.
Yeah,
he does. I threw in some Instagram usernames. I'll post these all later at the World Fitted Federation's Instagram page, so you guys can go follow, see some of these collections, get a preview of what maybe they're bringing. So,
Jason,
yes, sir.
I want to thank you, man, because I want to thank you how much effort you put into this, man, because this is going to be fun, and this wasn't easy for you to do. You put so much effort into this, man. I mean, just creating that survey, getting this all organized.
Yep.
I want to tell you how much I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I'm going to be reaching out to everybody starting tomorrow, trying to get the schedule down, see when we all can get together. So we don't have any matches scheduled yet, because we want to make sure it works for everybody. And I know if you're watching this later and you were one of the international people that signed up, I didn't put you in this bracket. We're still working through what we can do to accommodate time differences, language differences. We have not forgotten about you. We're just working on a different route. Maybe we'll do an intercontinental title.
That'd be great, man.
And have some international players there. So we're working it up. We did not forget about you.
Anyone who fails the PED test, will have to battle Leon.
Dang.
Yeah. So,
you don't want to comment that.
No. Yeah. So they'll have to battle Leon. Now, if you're in the heavyweight division and you misrepresent, there's no way to do that, right? Middleweight.
No.
If you misrepresented, you have to battle Leon. If you're in the lightweight, you'll have to battle Leon and I together, because that's a really dirty weight.
I'm not too worried about the middleweights. I looked at a lot of their collections, at least what they've posted, and they're pretty consistent with what they said. Those middleweight guys, I don't
know, man. That Jack Stills, I'm gonna be reaching out to him. That Fitted Flame, I'm reaching out to that guy. That guy's got hats.
Yeah. So I took them on their word. We'll find out how good their word is coming up.
So I don't get in trouble. My mom said she was gonna watch. So hi, Mom.
Hi, Maren's mom.
Hope you made it through the whole thing. And
Maren's mom.
One of my friends texted me and said that I actually misspoke. My favorite KU player of all time is Russell Robinson.
Yeah.
I said Russell Westbrook, who used to play for my favorite NBA team, the Oklahoma State Thunder. And Russell Westbrook was in that Final Four for UCLA. And I know all that, but it's been a long day, guys. So my bad.
So Maren, before we sign off, I think on behalf of Jason, myself, and Leon, we want to ask, did we keep our language clean enough?
I think so. I think if anyone cursed, it was just me. I think I said the S word. Sorry, Mama.
Jason was cursing under his breath at me as I was talking about Lawrence. So
it's just fine. And to Maren's mom, any property damage that may have occurred in that weekend in Lawrence has already been paid for.
Any light pole he may have peed on.
It's cool. She lives in Kansas City. She lives in Kansas City. So
okay. I've done a lot more damage in Kansas City.
Oh, okay. Dope. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something, Mead for Speed. You've made this show an absolute pleasure today. You and Maren made the show today.
I think menacing Mead also works. Menacing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, listen, it was a pleasure. Maren, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jason, again, thank you for all you've done, and we appreciate all the efforts you put into this. And Maren, we're gonna have you back on as a judge. Leon, you ready to take everyone out?
Yeah. So we are going to be having Ephra from Chimuko Studios on at Wednesday. We will be on at 9 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, we will be releasing Jason Mead's top 10 tomorrow morning. So we have that filmed. So that's going to be a weekly segment with Jason. We basically count down the top 10 releases of the week. But yeah, until then, guys, stay fitted, and we will catch you guys soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Maren.